Hi, my name is Noel Davis with World Composting, and today we're starting a new system. So I know I had started a bin that had hamster bedding in it, used hamster bedding from my son's hamster cage, and you guys had voted for African night crawlers, which was kind of surprising to me. I thought you guys would really want to see the reds since most people have reds. But I started that system, and it's been going fairly well, but I decided also to just make a red system as well and just see how that goes. So I am taking the worms that I harvested from bin number 2, and we're going to add that to a hamster system that I sort of had set up now for over a week, just waiting. You know, it's been moist and wet, and it's been waiting for the worms to kind of let it get settled in. And I'm ready to add those worms. We're going to add the worms with a lot of extra compost material from those old systems, but that's good for the system. It'll get those microbes going hopefully a little bit faster, and hopefully these worms will take over the system and start breaking down the worm poop and the hamster poop, the hamster bedding, and the shavings. The shavings are the one I'm really kind of curious about. Those aspen shavings are probably going to be just as tough as those pine shavings to kind of go through, but I'm curious to see how well they do with it. It's a mixture of cardboard bedding or a paper bedding that the hamster has and these shavings. So we'll see how they do with it compared to the African night crawlers. Now this is a slightly larger system that I'm putting them in. I'm not putting them in a system quite as small, but that's because I just didn't have any of the small systems left. But also I really wanted a lid on this. The other one, I know that we had an issue with fruit flies, and then we also had an issue with it drying out a little bit, so I really wanted the lid to kind of make sure we kept that moisture in. I can always take the lid off if it's too moist, but it's really hard to kind of make sure it's covered enough to keep that moisture in. So with that, let me show you the system. Again, I'm also using a separate glove for this system. I'm going to use the left glove, so that way I don't really contaminate if there's any like poop or anything. I don't want that getting into my other systems. If it doesn't pass through the gut of a worm, that can be unhealthy to use in your yard. So the idea is to keep it as separated as possible, and then when at the end I'll have to like bleach that glove or something like that to make sure I clean it. But you know, right now the hamster's only a few months old, so I have a feeling I'll be doing this for quite a while now, probably 2 to 4 years depending on how long the hamster lives. So with that, let's go take a look at the bin and see how this setup is going to work and to get the worms in there. Alright, so here's the hamster bedding system. So as you can see, I started this on 9/10. I put that date on here, and then I have our first update, which is today on the 18th. So it's been 8 days that it's been sitting here. Let's just take a look inside. First off, the lid, quite a bit of moisture, a little bit of odor in here, which doesn't quite surprise me. This bin, I should say, has been used for other systems in the past. So it kind of right now smells like hamster. There is definitely moisture in there, which is a good thing. And let's just kind of dig through this just a little bit. Let me grab my glove. Just so you can see here, you know, it's the same type of material as the other one. I'm just getting kind of a mold on top. It looks a little dry underneath compared to the top, but you know, that'll be okay, I think, for the start here. But there's a little bit more bedding in here, definitely a little bit deeper. There's some food left in here and stuff like that, but we're gonna just kind of go through this and see how this works. So the first thing we're gonna do here is we're gonna put our worms in. Let me just move my other glove here. As I said before, I did a harvesting on my bin number 2. It didn't work all that well, unfortunately, so I've got a lot of castings in here with my worms, but I think that's going to be okay. It'll be good for them. But we're going to be adding quite a bit of worms here to this system, as you can see right here on the top. I just want to kind of shake them out in here, kind of spread them around, but we're adding a lot of, you can see there's quite a few worms in there, just a lot of castings with them. Oh, let me scrape this out a little bit here. Kind of a couple worms stuck on the bottom of this this tote right here. I'm just trying to get them all in here. I don't want to leave them in here because in here they're just going to die. This is going to dry out and they're going to die in here. So there's some tiny worms in here. Let's just try to get them all out. It looks like there might even be, I'm guessing those are pot worms that are in here probably from the other bin. So right from there, we're just going to kind of spread this out all over the top. As you can see, nice handfuls of worms here. That'll focus. Make sure it's focused there. But see, nice amount of worms in here. We're going to spread this around, try to kind of cover all this up, so that way they'll get that microbial activity going. There might be a little bit of food left in it. It looked like there were some banana peels that were left in the castings and everything, but that's what we're going to do. And now we're going to add a little bit of water, if I can find my water container here. All right, looks like the worms are digging down here. Let's put in a little bit of water on them. just to kind of moisten this material up. This material is pretty dry. Make sure they get enough moisture, although looks like there was enough moisture in the bin. We want to make sure this stays moist, that way they can continue to thrive and work their way through this material. So now I'm not adding any extra food into here. I'm not going to be putting any food, just like with the African nightcrawler version of this. But the idea is to see how they work in this system right here and if they can go through this food, or this bedding material, I guess. This really isn't food, bedding material. So I'm not adding anything else. That's pretty much it for this update. If you have any questions, please let me know. But as I said, you know, I just thought I'm going to just drip some water off the lid here. I thought that we would try this out with the reds as well, because, you know, I know that a lot of people have reds and might be curious with the reds as well. There was a close call on the vote of 8 to 7, so this way you guys can see both. We'll see how this does, and we'll see how the other one does, and we'll go from there. So thank you for watching.